Hi, I'm Mrs. Ali. I'm with the Eastern Iowa Arts Academy, and today we're going to be drawing penguins. So today we're going to be drawing some baby emperor penguins that are hanging out here on a chunk of ice floating through the ocean. So first you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, some type of eraser either on your pencil or if you have a separate one that works too. So we're gonna start with the head. I'm gonna leave a little bit of space up here, so my penguin's gonna go right about there. I'm gonna leave some space at the bottom too, for the bottom of my little hunk of ice that he's gonna be standing on. So it'll be about that big. All right, so we're gonna start with his head. So this is just kind of a rounded oval shape. So I didn't do a complete circle, kind of like a rainbow, but curved in just a little bit more than a rainbow line here at the bottom. Then for his body, I'm gonna do a long U shape, and I'm gonna kind of plan out how tall I want him to be. Think about to here. So I'm gonna add a little bit of a neck. So I just made a little straight line here and here on either side. Next, I'm going to add my U shape for his body. It's up to you kind of how fat you want them to be. These are little baby penguins. They're pretty fluffy. So notice I kind of draw a lot of lines when I'm drawing to try and get my shape instead of just drawing really hard and doing one motion. And then I can always go back and erase the lines I don't need anymore and darken the one I actually end up using. Next, we're gonna add his little wings off to the side. So this is gonna be, say, about a third of the way down is where we're gonna start. So I'm gonna make a line going out, so like the side of a triangle, diagonal line. Then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then instead of doing a straight line back in like a triangle, I'm gonna curve it a little bit. So it's got kind of like a smile or U, really flat U, but a curved line for the bottom of his wing. Next, we're gonna add his little feet on the bottom. So I'm gonna make mine pretty far apart, so about here and here. So I'm gonna add a curved line, little line on the left. Then I'm gonna make a capital M to make his toes. So like that, so like two little triangles. And then a curved line on the right side of his foot. So he should have three little toes. Okay, then we're gonna do the same thing on the right. So I'm gonna do a curved line. If it helps, you can also do the curved lines first, so I can do the right side and the left side to kind of decide how big I want my foot to be. It's kind of like parentheses. Then I'm gonna add an M for the toes. Okay, so next we're gonna work on the face. So for this penguin face, we're gonna have kind of like a black, almost looks like hair to me around the outside. This part. So I'm gonna add this part first and then add my eyes and beak. So to start out with, I'm just gonna make a smaller circle inside the circle I already have. And then I'm just going to connect that with kind of a curved line out to the edge of the body. So it'll kind of look like it's starting to make a circle here, or the top of an oval. Okay, so now I'm going to add this middle part that kind of looks like almost like a nose leading down to the beak. Also, want to mention, depending on how you shape this top part, these kind of work as eyebrows. So if you want him to have a different facial expression, if you kind of angle those differently, if I angled this down, for example, and made like a V, it would kind of look like an angry penguin. I'm going to make sure that mine kind of go this direction, and that it's just more of a rounded one so that he looks happy and not like an evil penguin. But if you want an evil penguin, that's also fine. Okay, so I already have this shape here. I might make it go in just a little bit more. So this all is getting colored in, by the way, eventually, not right now. Okay, so for this middle part, I'm going to start it like that. So these are kind of like curved diagonal lines going down. Then I'm going to go straight down a little bit farther. I'm trying to end up with his beak pretty much in the middle of his head, face. All right, so I'm going to draw my beak first here. So I'm going to make kind of a diamond shape. Now this is another thing, you kind of add a little bit of expression. So if I make my line in the middle like curved like a frowning face, he's going to look kind of grumpy. I want him to look happy, so I'm just going to curve it just a tiny bit like a smile. Or you can just go straight across too. All right, so now I'm going to add this black part of its feathers going around the beak. And then I'm going to color this in. So this should be pretty dark. Like a dark gray or as dark as you can get. You can also color this with a black colored pencil if you like. I'm just going to use pencil today. So I'm kind of making a circular motion when I'm coloring it in because I want it to look kind of fuzzy instead of just going straight up and down. Just to give it a little bit more of a fluffy texture. So I don't need this line to be exactly perfect, or even the outside. I'm trying to make it a little bit fluffy so that I can see like a feather texture, if possible. All right, and then I'll work on the bottom feathers here in a minute. I'm going to finish his face first though. Sorry, I'm just rounding his head a little bit more. Okay, so next I'm going to add the eyes. So I'm just going to do kind of your basic cartoon eye. So to do that, you're always going to want a black circle with a white reflection dot. So I'm going to start with the eye circles. And it's up to you how big you want those to be. Mine are a bit bigger than my beak, if that's helpful. Again, I'm drawing lots of little lines when I go around to try and get my shape. It's really hard to draw eyes the same if you have to erase a few times to try and adjust them to get about the same size. It's really hard to draw them perfectly symmetrical, so just do the best you can. So next I'm going to add a white reflection circle. So that's just when the light hits the pupil of your eye. You'll see a white dot. You want to make sure you put the white dot in the same place in both circles. So for me, it's easiest for me to remember the top right hand corner. So I always just make a little circle in the top right hand corner. And that one's a little bit bigger, so I can just go back in and make that a little bit smaller. And I'm going to color that bigger circle in and leave that little circle inside white. You could put your reflection circle in a different corner of the eye. It's up to you where you want to put it. I wouldn't put it dead center because it's going to look pretty weird. So kind of pick a corner that you would put it in. All right, so I think maybe this side got a little bit too close to his eyeball. So I'm just going to erase a little bit to reshape that. There, that's a little better. Okay, so once you've finished your eyes, then you can go ahead and color in your feet because these are going to be black too. So just color it in as dark as you can. Try not to leave any white spots. Okay, so next we're ready to do the shading of the feathers. So this is going to be like an ombre effect or from dark to light. It's just, it'll also help you practice learning how to shade. So we're going to do darkest on the bottom and then get lighter as we go. But we're going to leave kind of the like chest area white. So this part we aren't going to end up coloring at all, or his face. Okay, so I'm going to start at the bottom and the sides. I just want to kind of darken this a bit. My penguin is pretty round. So I'm just darkening my edges. Okay, so then I'm going to do the darkest part here. I'm just wiggling my pencil up and down, but I'm pressing pretty much as hard as I can. I'm just doing a little up and down line. And then I'm kind of starting to curve it out diagonally. So this part I'm going straight up and down, and then I'm starting to curve it because I'm trying to show that it's rounded. So it's going to be a little bit more diagonal. So then each time I do a layer, I'm just not quite pressing as hard as I did the layer before. So each time you're going to get a little bit lighter. So that has to do with how hard you're pressing down your pencil to your paper. So I'm just not pressing down quite as hard. I'm still doing my same up and down motion. I'm not coloring it randomly. I want to color it the same direction each time. Now I'm going a little lighter. And you don't have to have perfectly like even stripes. So again, each layer you're just coloring a little bit lighter each time until eventually you'll barely be able to see it. And that should be when you have some space left for like the chest part. So I'm just trying to gradually lighten. So this layer I'm like barely touching it. And this takes some practice, so you may have to like go back in and erase, kind of reshade it. Okay, so I think I went up a little bit too far, so I'm just gonna go back in. And I'm not like doing everything, I'm just doing a few little lines. Okay, you can also do shading if you have a blending tool. If you do not have a blending tool, you can also just use a Kleenex, base paper, or honestly, most of the time I use my finger. So I'm just gonna smudge it just to add a little bit more shading, kind of blend it a little bit better. And then I lost a little bit too much texture, so I'm just gonna add a few light lines back on top so I can still see that feathery, fluffy texture. And then for his arms, we want them to be about the same as what your maybe medium or lightest layer was. So you just add a few fluffy lines on his wings. Right, and then you basically repeat 2 more times for your other penguins. So hopefully you remember the steps. I'll kind of go through it pretty quickly, but I'll still talk you through it. So I want my penguin on the right and left to be behind this one. So I'm gonna start out with its head. I'm gonna kind of tilt it just a little bit in towards this guy. And this one I'm gonna make a little bit skinnier. So I still add my neckline. Okay, there's my body. A line going out, curving back in for its little wing. Then my toes, parentheses, M, parentheses, M, curved line around the face, little triangle points, and I add this middle part of its face, diamond shape beak, color around it, two circles for the eyes with reflection circles in the top right corner. Color it in. And then shading, darkest at the bottom, which means its feet are also black. So remember, you're doing the darkest at the bottom and then gradually getting lighter. You have to shake out your hand if it's getting tired. blend. Color in your wing. All right, and then I'm gonna quickly do one more penguin on this side. So again, curved line for the head. Little lines on the side for the neck. Rounded body. Oh, wing on the side. Parenthesis, toes, parenthesis, toes. Black feet. Then add the middle part of face, diamond beak, color around it, color the middle and around the face. Then we'll add circle eyes. Reflection circles, color it in. And some quick shading. Blend it. Alright, so real quick, if you want to add an iceberg, you're going to make kind of a lumpy oval going around. Go around your penguin. Again, it can be kind of lumpy. Doesn't have to be a perfect oval. Then to add a 3D element, add 2 lines at the bottom, and then make a parallel line with this bottom section to show that it's 3D, like there's a hunk of ice there. Then when you shade this, just add some little vertical lines when you're shading. Okay, and then I add some little wavy lines to show that they're in the water. You can also add mountains in the background if you have time or you have room and want to add extras. I didn't really have room for this one, so I didn't do those. So I'm all done with my penguin drawing. I hope you had fun drawing these cute little penguin friends with me. Again, if you want to color it in, you're always welcome to color it in, or you can leave it just a pencil drawing. That's fine too. Hope you had fun drawing penguins and you have a good rest of your day. Bye.